There is nothing called mind. There are actual paths. If you keenly investigate, recognize and experience the truth by yourself, then you will clearly see the fact that there is nothing called mind. The so-called mind is non-existent. This is itself is enough for serious arguments and debates. How do you say there is no mind? There are many books, sermons about the mind. Then why many people writing and talking about the mind? Keep all these logic and arguments to yourself. We do not have any argument. This Dhamma we are talking about is beyond reasoning and logic. Atakavachara Dhamma, Buddha said that. It is beyond the reach of thought. Understand it and conception. This cannot be debated by logic. In reality, there is nothing called mind. It does not exist in reality. Only seemingly exist. If that is so, then how do we say we have mind? How do we say we think, we talk, we remember, etc., etc.? This is the why one will counter question naturally. Yes, that is how it seemingly appears. Many people naturally think the existence of such mind. It is not easy to cognize the no mind. Keenly investigate what is this all about. Mind is that which momentarily appears and disappears. It does not exist constantly throughout. All our samatha, vipassana and all sorts of meditations, practice, etc. are to understand and recognize this fact. Satsara Satipatthana, 8 Noble Path, Sattis Bodhipashika Dharma, etc. are also practiced in order to recognize this fact. These words are like fishes, gems, very important. There is no such exciting mind. Naturally, we tend to think things exist, we exist. No, we can't prove such an exciting mind, then it is an extreme view, anitya. It is false to say it exists or does not exist. Why? If we say it exists, then it exists. If we say non-existent, then it implies it had existed. Either way, it implies existence of things which is false. That is why Buddha always expounds Dhamma in middle way of practice. Majjhe Jnanam, Buddha said. No one can understand this. We include the sentence in our earlier talk that Buddha's preachings always based on middle path, Majjhe Jnana. We have received significant feedback on that. Our society have not understood what is meant by preaching by the standpoint of Majjhe Jnana. All Tripitaka Desana illustrated, those are based on Majjhe Jnana. This can be seen only by those who have understood this fact. When you read sutras, the understanding totally depends on your spiritual maturity. This is the truth. In one sense, this is a sort of one's helplessness. This is not a mistake. It is the nature. However, the one who recognizes the truth will see the real import. That is why it is said, Rupato Nichyato. Rupa Nichangva Anichangva. Buddha said that. Rupa Nichangva Anichangva Anichambante. This is said to all things. Is Vedana is Nitya or Anitya. It is Anitya. Sankhara is Nitya or Anitya, it is Anitya. Sankhara Nitya or Anitya, it is Anitya. Vijnana Nitya or Anitya, it is Anitya. Buddha said that. What is try to convey here? There is no thing called mind. Skandha itself is mind. If Vedana is Anitya, Sanya is Anitya, Vijnana is Anitya. How can there be existing, exciting things all the way through? There is no such exciting mind. you may not believe this, also you do not accept this. Therefore, I suggest you may keep this is your mind to inquire later. When you investigate and reflect by keen intellect, Buddha, or attention, one day this pointing may click to you. Then you will understand that this message was conveyed by a spiritual teacher, Kalyana Mitra. There is no such thing called mind. We are trying to recognize this reality. This is what you will realize at the end. This is called emptiness, sunyata. This is shown through Sunyata Patisanyutta Desana also. That is why advice being given to reach emptiness or sunyata state. Most do not understand this sunyata. Some may think it is like emptiness in outer objects. This is not as such. Long language is used to express or indicate things. Language is limited to express to ends or two extremes, that is duality. One end is existence and the other is non-existence. It cannot actually express or trans beyond these two ends. We said earlier that Dhamma, or the way of reality, cannot be adequately explained by using a language. This is the reason for that. Language is always used to express an extreme, anitya. But for Dhamma, way of reality, there is no extreme, anitya. How can Dhamma that transcends duality can be explained by using a language limited to express extremes or duality? This is a subtle point and difficult to grasp. That is why most people cannot understand this pointing. There is no thing called mind. Mind appears and disappears. Tatra tatra vipassati, Buddha said that. Momently appears and disappears. What are these jnanas? Jnanas, known as Udayavya jnana. Vayanyana, Buddothpado Munyutukambetanyana, Adinapassanyana, Patisankanyana, Sankarupekshanyana. That's 10 jnanas. What are these 10 jnanas? These are not the mind. We told this over and over again. These are not the mind. This Udayavya jnana is that which knows the appearance, and disappearance of the mind. That is a sense of knowingness, arising and falling of thoughts, Arambana. You will see that we have discussed on these lines anicchāvata sankhāra upadavaya dhammino upajjitva nirujjanti tesang upasamosukho. Buddha said that all these describes the same fact. Upadavaya dhammino, this is the mind, the thought construct, aramuna. Upada, upajjitva nirujjanti, those momentarily appears and disappears. If you check the Buddothpado Sutra, Buddha said that this is a very important sutra. Atitan natra gammeya nappatikanke anagatam pachupannanta ye dhamma tatta tatra vipassati. This is the nature of reality. All momentarily appears and disappears. See keenly, attentively how this is occurring each moment. When we explain about thought constructs, we say the mind that see the book will not see the wall in that moment. The mind that sees the chair will not see the flower in that moment. This is a stream of thoughts. What is said here is that the thought of the books appears and disappears. The thoughts of the wall appears and disappears. Momentarily. Thought arises and falls away. We call the arising of a thought as a spark. We have explained in detail this line earlier. On this line earlier, you will be able to listen those. There are hundreds of thoughts. Through those, what we are trying to convey is thoughts never prior, assisted, excited. all momentarily appears new and disappears without any reside. That's all. Received. That's all. Why we are telling this? Because this is the reality that we have seen experimentally. That is our first hand experience. This is the direct experience, Pratyaksha Jnana. We had to express this as we recognize and experience. We have seen some people interpreting this differently. However, we explain the nature of mind through our own experience and knowingness. It is not borrowed knowledge. We should be truth. We should be the truth. How it happens each moment. This is the pure Dhamma. Pure Dhamma. We told earlier it is impossible to write these in books. Most think that Tripitaka contains all of these, and it is enough if they could by heard to know the truth. It is not in Tripitaka, but in your mind. If one sees the reality of mind, it is the freedom, Nibbana. Recognition of the non-existent mind is Nibbana. We cannot write this in a book. Why? Because the experience or the sense and one gets cannot be translated into words. Can we write the text of settle in a book? Even you spent 5,000 years, you cannot write this in a book. No one can argue this fact. Similarly, if you spend 5,000 years, you cannot write on Nibbana, the nature of reality in the book. This is an experiential wisdom, jnana, grasped by wisdom. Through books, we can give only some attributes of fact and pointing the rest has to be seen by himself. Until one sees by direct experience, one will not know the reality. Until you test, you do not know what it really looks like. Until you get direct experience by your own, you can never find Nibbana or the truth from books. You will die. You will never find Nibbana from books. Nibbana, the truth, should be experienced by yourself only through your own effects. That is why we call this Sandittika Dhamma. Buddha said that. That is subjected to one's own recognition and experience. If there is no mind, it momentarily appears and disappears. Then how does the time exist? That is why we say this is not subjected to time, that is Akalika Dhamma. At this moment, a thought appears and disappears. Where is the time? Time is also a thought only. The appearance and disappearance of thoughts is the only thing happening moment to moment in the so-called world. That is all. When you say you die, it's just an appearance and disappearance of another thought only. Every moment, thoughts arise and fall away. That's all. Where is the time now? These are all our imagination and fabrication. There is no such thing as time, only the truth. It is a dharmatava, called Buddha said that. Beyond time exists. This is just a way of reality. This is called Atakkavachara Dhamma. No point of arguing. The felt tests cannot be written in books. In a similar way, we cannot argue. And win on this truth. This is the absolute truth. Cannot subject to logical arguments. This is the truth one should recognize and experience. Why this is a Sandittika Dhamma? Because no one can teach this. No one can give you. No one can give you. One has to recognize by his own effects and experience. The self you it is only experienced by yourself. How can you make someone else experience it? This is directly experienced by yourself only. Sambittika, Ehipassika, Opanayika, Akalika Dhamma. Anyone can investigate this until one directly experienced by oneself. This cannot be expressed. Pachupanna Dhamma, that is by nature, arising and falling. That is why we say only this reality exists, nothing else. So Dhammam Passati, Somam Passati. So Dhammam Passati, Somam Passati. Buddha said that. Lord Buddha showed us to see him through Dhamma. We told Buddha is not an individual. The state where no mind. Is the Buddhahood or the Buddha nature? This is a word we use to point this nature or to represent only. There is emptiness, sunyata, at this stage. There are no defilement. Klesha, at this stage, Teres. There is no thing at this stage. All arises and desire. Sankata. Only the truth, Nibbana, ever exists. Asankata. That is why it is only the Nibbana, the absolute truth exists. How can then one say all appears and disappears and only Nibbana ever exists? This is by recognizing experientially the fact that all else appears and disappears. This is very deep, subtitle, no witness. There is no thing called mind, it only momentarily appear and disappear. There is no thing that ever excites. This is very simple if one sees in this manner. How can then we have reasons to be sorrowful or unhappy, dukkha? We do not find reasons or causes to be joyful or sorrow. All thought constructs and end then and there. All appear momentarily and disappear. If we cling to a thought, projection is inevitable, and there will be a residue. Niramasa viraga nirodho. Nibbana. Nibbidanti viraganti nirodhanti is called Nibbana. That means there is no any residue left. The thought of a book appears and disappears, no residue left. The thoughts of a wall appears and disappears, no residue left. We are using the words only. You should recognize the deep meaning that these words pointing to. The one who sees the momentarily appearance and disappearance of thoughts construct or the mind, we will not find the so-called death. Then he will be never blissful and at peace.